All right, guys, for our math warm-up today, we're going to practice counting by 2s, 5s, and 10s. These are the counting patterns that we usually chant together, so we're going to go through them a little bit quickly, all right? All right, we're going to start with 2s, all right? We're going to count all the way to 50. Remember, the numbers in the ones place repeat. Ready? Begin. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50. Awesome job. Now we're going to count by 5s all the way to 50. Okay, you can look at the number. I'm going to point to the hundreds chart. Ready? Begin. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Awesome job. Now, counting by 10s has been something you've been able to do since kindergarten. Okay, we're going to do it really quick together here, and you can see it here going straight down the hundreds chart. Ready? Begin. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Awesome job, guys. All right, guys, it's time for math. So go ahead and get this out, and we're going to get started. I think you can see on here that we are starting time. We're going to start to read clocks. A lot of you know how, and a lot of you don't, and it's okay. Wherever you're at, that's where we are, and we're going to start all together here. It's a great review for those of you that do know how to read clocks already. Okay, so we're going to get started. Before we even begin looking at this, we are going to look at my clock that we had on the wall at school. Okay, every clock has at least well, let me tell you this. This is called an analog clock. It's a clock that has a face. Okay, this is called a face. It has the numbers in a circle, numbers 1 through 12. Okay, every clock has 2 hands. These are called the hands. Okay, some clocks have 3 hands. And if your clock has a 3rd hand, it's a really skinny one, and it's moving all the time. Okay, we're not going to talk too much about that hand. That hand is called the second hand, where it shows you seconds, literally seconds as they go by. You can watch the seconds go by. For every second, you could count like 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, and those are all seconds. We're not going to spend a lot of time on them. We're going to spend most of our time on these 2 hands. Okay, now the hands and knowing which hand is which is the most important part of reading these clocks. So I'm going to tell you right now, and then we're probably going to repeat it every day. So you're probably going to get tired of hearing me say it, but I'm going to tell you again which hand is which. Now on our school clocks, they really try to help you learn them by making them different colors. On any clock in your house, they're probably not different colors. On your school clocks, the blue hand, the longer hand, which is blue, you see how one of them is longer than the other? This one goes up higher. This blue hand, or the long hand, the long one, is the minute hand. The minute hand. The shorter hand on every clock, or the red one for your school clocks, is the hour hand. Hour. So this hand tells the hour, and this hand tells the minutes. Okay? That is the most important part. If you memorize that, the rest will come very easy. Memorizing that can be tricky. So I like to show you a couple things. First, I like to show you the words hour and minute so you can learn. Now, hour is a really weird sight word. It has a silent H. Okay, we don't pronounce this H. We don't do the, okay, we don't say hour. This is hour. The H is silent. Okay, and if you take that H off, it looks like the word hour when we say our house, our classroom, our pencils. This is, when you add the H, it's talking about time, all right? An hour. Hour is only 4 letters long. It's a very short word. It goes with the short hand. The long hand is the minute hand. Minute. All right? Minute is a longer word, okay? Minute. 2 syllables, a lot longer. It's the long hand, okay? Minute, the long word, long hand, hour, shorthand. All right? We always read the hour first, just like you let the short people go in front. They go first, and then the tall people behind if you're taking a picture or standing on a stage or something. So short first, long last, okay? We'll learn about the lengths and how much they actually are, but we already read a book about this. I don't know if you guys remember the book, A Second is a Hiccup, when we talked about how when you do a hiccup, hiccup, you can all practice a hiccup at home, hiccup. If you do a hiccup, it's about a second long, and that there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. So if you count it to 60, kind of slow, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, all the way to 60, you would have a minute. And then if you took 60 of those minutes, you would have an hour, okay? And then that book went on and on. I don't know if you guys remember, it talked about how if you had 24 hours, you would have 1 day. And you took 7 days, you would have 1 week. And about 4 weeks to a month, and 12 months to a whole year, okay? So we're working on measuring time right now, all right? So go ahead and get that paper out. We're gonna get started, and we'll be talking about this quite a bit, okay? We'll be talking about this quite a bit. Let's get started. All right, guys, it is time to get started on this paper. We are going to practice learning about the hour hand and o'clock, the words o'clock. So you have this paper in front of you, but for a minute I just want you to watch the screen because I want to show you on this clock, which barely fits in the screen. Okay. Now for this, we're going to pretend that Robbie has band practice at 3 o'clock. Okay. This right here is 3 o'clock. Whenever we say time, we say the hour first. Now remember, the hour hand is the short red hand, okay? Or just the short hand if you're looking at a regular clock and not a classroom clock. So we say 3 o'clock. So we're saying the short hand first, the hour hand. The hour is 3, all right? Now the minute hand, if it's ever o'clock, has to be pointing straight up at the 12, okay? O'clock, I wrote that up there so that you could see. All right, it means 60 minutes or o'clock. It also means 00 minutes. This is like the starting line of the clock. And this hand moves all the way around the clock. Okay, all the way around, and it comes back. And 59, 60. 60 is the same place as 0. It's the start. All right, the start. So it can be 00 or o'clock. We actually never really say 60 or show 60 when we're telling time. This should have had a 00. I should just fix that for you so that we don't get confused. But o'clock, all right? So 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock. Now he's at band practice, Robbie is, for 2 hours according to our worksheet. So 2 hours are gonna go by, okay? And since the hours are talking about these red numbers that go with the red hand, 1 hour later would be 4 o'clock because 3 plus 1 is 4, okay? And then another hour to get to 2 hours later would make it go to 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. So get your pencil, and on this paper, go ahead and trace 5 o'clock when Robbie gets out of band right there. And turn the page. Okay. All right, there are 2 kinds of clocks. This is an analog clock. Okay, as I told you earlier, anything with the face and the numbers from 1 to 12 is an analog clock. Okay. The hour hand is shorter. It points to the hour, which is the red hand. The minute hand is longer. It points to the minute. Okay. Remember, I showed you that helpful hint of remembering hour is a short word, so it's a shorthand. Minute is a long word, so it's the longhand. When you tell the time, you say the hour first and then the minute. Okay? All right. So when the minute hand is pointing at the 12, which is also 00 or o'clock, okay, we say o'clock second. We say the red hand, whatever number it's pointing to, first. Now, it's tricky with clocks. You know what? I'm going to show you. I got to turn the camera around. Hold on. It's tricky with clocks because a lot of kids, when they're first learning, want to say, okay, well, I'll say the red hand first, and then I'll say the blue hand. So I'm going to go 5:12. It's 5:12, but it's not. So an important part of clocks to remember is that the small hand reads the numbers 1 through 12, or the red numbers on here on the classroom clock. And the blue hand is going to actually read these blue numbers. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. The camera shows it in reverse for me, so it's tricky. The blue hand reads the blue numbers going this way. Okay, always moves in that direction too. It's called clockwise. Okay, and so the blue numbers go with the blue hand and the red numbers go with the red hand. You don't have the colors to help you on regular grown-up clocks, and I know that, but that's why we're really going to focus on using this one and the numbers in there. But I want to tell you, so that's why I was saying earlier that there's that 60 up there. We never say 60. We would rather just say 0. Okay, but when it's pointing straight up, this blue hand, we don't say 5:60. Okay, we say 5 o'clock. All right, I'm gonna cross off. I really don't like that there's a 60 there. I don't know why people make things confusing. We're gonna get rid of it right now, so I never ever have to explain that again. No 60. We never ever say that. Sometimes you'll see a 00. It's like the starting point of a race. Okay, look, I fixed it. Okay, so 5 o'clock. All right, red numbers to red hand, blue numbers to blue hand, 5 o'clock. Okay, all right, let's get back to our paper. All right, so knowing that we say the short hand first and the minute hand second, we're going to look at these ones. Number 1, the short hand first, the hour first. So it's pointing to the 9, and the minute hand is pointing straight up, so that's o'clock. So it's 9 o'clock. What hand is being pointed to here? Not what hand. Oh my goodness, Mrs. McMahon. What number is being pointed to by the shorthand here? The 2. 2 o'clock. Very good. What is the shorthand pointing to here? 11. 11 o'clock, because it's pointing, the blue hand is pointing straight up. Blue hand is still pointing straight up, and the shorthand, or the hour hand, is pointing down. So it's 6 o'clock. Excellent job. Down here it says, where are the hour hand and the minute hand when it is 4 o'clock? Think about that while I get it ready on the clock for you. Okay. Okay, if it's 4 o'clock, we know that the minute hand must be pointing straight up and the hour hand must be pointing to the 4. 4 o'clock. Awesome job. Turn your packet over to this side. And this one wants you to do this on your own. All right, so let's take a look. Go ahead and do this on your own. Write down all those times. Pause the video and come back and check your answers. All right, I hope you finished. I'm going to show you the answers. All right. Did number 8 stump anybody? This one was tricky. They're both pointing at the 12. That just means that the hour is also 12, but the minute is still o'clock. Okay, 12 o'clock. All right, so it looks like they're both trying to say 12, but we always have to remember that that minute hand is saying o'clock. Awesome. Go ahead and turn to the last page. Okay. This one says solve. Write the time. Draw the hands on the clock. Use a Judy clock, which you guys don't have them at home. I couldn't send those home to you. I wish I could. But use a Judy clock to help. All right. Number 13. Ava gets home at 3 o'clock. Evan gets home 1 hour later. What time does Evan get home? So if Ava gets home at 3 o'clock, and then we need to add 1 hour to 3 o'clock, what is 3 plus 1? 4. So Evan gets home at 4 o'clock. Now remind me, if we have o'clock for the minute, where does the minute hand point? I hope you said to the 12, straight up, all the way to the edge of the clock. That's how you make sure to make a nice long hand for me. Cover up the number with the minute hand. And then 4 o'clock, the hour is 4. So we draw a short hand that goes halfway through, pointing at the 4. Okay? It's very important that you make that minute hand nice and long so I can tell that you know the difference between the minute hand and the hour hand, okay? Number 14. Roger begins reading books at 7 o'clock. He reads for 1 hour. What time does he stop? 7 o'clock plus 1 hour. 7 plus 1 is 8 o'clock. Okay, o'clock means that the minute hand is pointing straight up and the hour hand is pointing to the 8. All right. Antonio tried to set the hands on his clock for 9 o'clock. Tell why Antonio is wrong. Make it right. Ooh, do you see this? 9 o'clock. So we read the shorthand first, the hour first. Is this the shorthand? Is it pointing at 9? No, it's pointing at 12. It looks like Antonio got his hands mixed up. The minute hand should be pointing at the 12 and the hour hand should be pointing at the 9. Let's go ahead and fix it. Okay, I just drew right over it. It's kind of messy. And that part's okay. This part is the part we want to fix. All right, so Antonio mixed up the hands is what we're going to write. Antonio mixed up the hands. All right, go ahead and pause that so that you can finish writing it, and that's it. Also, I'm going to try and send a link. If I can't put it in the video itself, you'll find a link in your email to a fun song about clocks to help you learn the hands and memorize which one tells the hour and which one tells the minute. With learning to tell time, it's something you're going to work on all the way through 3rd grade. So you got plenty of time to learn it. This is your first year really being introduced to it. So it's okay. Just take your time and be patient with yourself, and you'll get it down. All right? Awesome job, guys.